Right, Lia, would you like to introduce yourself first?
Oh my, well, I am Lia Hide. I am a singer and songwriter and keyboard player, arranger, producer, vocal teacher. And lately I've been doing editing, video editing, and I'm the graphic designer of our work. So I am this multi-layered small enterprise that's Lia Hide. And I am also the lead singer and main, let's say, artist of our band. I am followed by four, sometimes five amazing gentlemen. We have guitar, bass, drums, and trumpet. I do the keys. So that's me. I, at the moment, I'm in Athens at the moment. I used to be part-time in London, part-time in Athens, but COVID, everything different and everything weird. So hometown here, Greece, and we just had our album presentation this Saturday. Our album was released in April the 4th, so it was the fourth day of the fourth month of 2022, and it was labeled The Missing Fourth Guest. We stole our title from the opening line of Timaeus, a dialogue by Plato. I like to cook. I like to paint, but there's no time. And I am mostly happy and jubilant and smiling, although my music is, I'd say, dark, filled with gloomy thoughts, but in an optimistic way. I tend to believe that we'll make it in the end. So I'd say there's a rainbow somewhere hidden, very well hidden, but it's there.
Wow. I didn't realize you did so much.
Oh. Well, in Greece, there's this tendency. If you want to be successful and if you want to be acclaimed by the public or well received, it would be well advised if you were rich. So if you're not, it would be well advised to mock that you're rich. So we don't really say that we're doing it all on our own. In other places of the world, that's considered to be, a well achieved thing to do. I mean, you
Yes.
are capable, you're active, you are focused, you're determined, you're passionate. Here, you're desperate. So we don't really
Oh,
say all these things. Yes, because Greece is a very, very weird place to be at the moment. The latest European economical financial scandal is happening with the member of the European Parliament that's Greek. She's Greek, and I mean this is what's going on in this country. It's a very weird thing. Although we have been trying to cope with crisis before COVID, and we are in a huge debt and we are trying to do the best we can. On the other hand, because we have a very liberal government, liberal in brackets, if you're rich and you are among respected, and if you are among these people, you are considered to be successful all the way. Otherwise, you're desperate. It's like you're trying to take something out of their pie, or you're trying to
wow.
convince them otherwise. So it's a very weird situation. And
Yeah.
so we don't really say that I do it all.
Wow.
I know it sounds strange,
Yeah,
doesn't
it's
it?
just, it sounds to, because from an outsider's point of view, that sounds like you're really motivated, clever, intelligent, and able to do all those things. That's quite amazing. It's an amazing thing. It's a great achievement.
But it's not
And
appealing here. I'd say it's appalling. They don't like it here.
that's so strange.
Well, not really. It comes with the mentality. You see, I mean, Malta is a very shiny place, right? Sunny and
Yeah.
bright, and you have good weather. So we have this thing here. We have mostly the same weather, I'd say,
Yeah.
Mediterranean countries. We like the sun, and we are very well. We have this tourism all around. Lately, we have tourists all year long. So there's been this view after the 80s, and after we got rid of the junta, we had political rubbly situation here. So
Yeah.
after that, when we had some stability, we became very foreign friendly. We loved the Americans very much. We loved the easy money. So this is a mentality that hasn't yet been, ripped off of our hearts. Easy money and easy wealth, and being amongst the few and privileged seems like a thing to strive to be in life, not um, DIY person, or someone who's very determined, or someone who works very hard, or someone who loses their sleep over their work. That's considered to be not a weakness, but it's as if you're begging for it, and they don't
Wow.
like it. It's weird. I know. I can't
Mm.
really explain it to someone.
Yeah,
It
it's very
feels,
strange.
it is. I know, and it's sad as well. It's
Yeah,
sad.
yeah. Because we'd call it as somebody who's achieving a lot by themselves, and that means they're working really hard at it and they're focused. You know, yeah, very unusual.
It is. It is. There's a lot of things about Greece that's very unusual, and I know that people think about Greece like this place where wisdom and sciences and philosophy and democracy sprang from, and the origin of Renaissance and all this knowledge. But modern Greece has very few things in common with ancient Greece, and we're
Yeah,
doing the best we can to deteriorate democracy, any level of proper education, healthcare, or equality for that matter. I mean, I can go on, but
yeah,
I know that people want to come here because they want to see the Acropolis and Mount Olympus and where the gods were and all that. And that I don't want to ruin it for those people, and
no,
I'm
no,
sure I'm not, because people who
no,
want to
no.
come here, they're going to come here. So
I've always been fascinated by ancient Greece because I think
see.
the Romans inherited so much from the ancient Greeks, but are kind of credited without, if you don't look into it, they kind of get credited with a lot of the things that they've been known for, but it wasn't them. It was actually taken from what the ancient Greeks left behind.
Well, the way we learned about it in school is that they were occupators. So it was war, and we were enslaved. So that's part of the story. And then, but they were not like, let's say, the Turks. They did not demolish, or like the Germans afterwards in World War
Yeah,
II. We had some peaceful living together. And yes, culture and arts and theater and music and poetry and philosophy, everything bloomed. They didn't stop. Um, I don't think that the Romans stole from us. I think they stole a lot of marble statues, but that's been
yeah,
happening forever, so it doesn't matter anymore. I guess it's universal. It's universal heritage. It should be everywhere. I
yeah,
understand. I mean,
yeah.
if Greece was filled with the ancient statues and the ancient relics of what was here, we wouldn't be living here. It would
No,
be a museum. We should be evicted of our house so that everyone can come visit the
yeah,
living museum. I think the Romans did though proceed and advance some things. Like I studied in Bath in the UK,
ah, yes,
so it's the Roman baths. We did
yeah,
not have we did not have baths in that way in ancient Greece. We did not have that notion of the big road and all this communication system that the Romans built throughout the Roman Empire.
yeah,
So I understand. I know. I respect the Romans a lot, and I like. We have this saying with the Italians. It's una fazza, una razza. We say, like, Italians and Greeks are the same thing. And
yeah,
whenever we are in Italy, it feels very much at home. I think they have their share of immense and very very very, very important history as well.
Of
I
course,
don't
yeah.
think they stole from us. No one is thinking Socrates, the Roman philosopher, is the ancient Greek philosopher.
Yeah. I think it was like the architecture was borrowed from the Greeks, wasn't it?
Yes, they took some of the latest rhythms, let's say some of the latest styles, and they incorporated it into their own.
Yeah.
I mean, if you look at the American, buildings like the White House and all this,
Yeah.
they don't
Columns.
say in Roman style. I think they say in ancient or the classical rhythm, as we call it. So
Yeah.
I don't think that the Romans stole something besides
No.
our freedom.
More
Yes,
of an
we were.
admiration, I think, for the architecture and things.
Yes,
More of an admiration. If they didn't want to kind of copy it and carry it on, that means they didn't like it. But obviously they did like it because they carried it on.
yes. It was sadly the Byzantine Empire that did most of the damage, as they would ruin the ancient temples to take the marble to create churches. So it was
Yeah.
later on, it was during the Byzantine Empire or the late stage of the Roman Empire, when the destruction started. But that has to do with religion, and
Yeah.
I think that only a few good things in the human history have happened because of the religion. I think that religion is to blame for a lot of bad things and wars
Yeah.
and devastating events in our history.
Yeah. That is very, very, very true. I mean, we have a lot of things here from our history here in Malta, and we have a few places. One in the village here, and you go down into an underground cave where there's a religious statue, and the other statues have no heads, none of them. And that was when apparently when the Turks came, they cut off all the heads of the statues. So again, religion again, always causing a problem somehow, which is a shame.
For us, they would pluck the eyes out of the paintings whenever the Turks invaded a village, and that's probably every village in Greece because we had
Yeah.
Turkish occupation for 400 years. They would
Wow.
pluck out the eyes of the saints. They would just burn holes into those. So you go into churches, and the entire, you can see, let's say, the crucifixion of Christ or Virgin Mary giving birth to, and then all the eyes are holes. Like it was very funny,
Wow,
and
that's strange. And that's
as if now it's funny. I mean, why do you pluck out the eyes, burn the entire church? They would pluck out the eyes so the eyes of the saints would not watch them do it. It's weird. I mean,
yeah, it's
but
like
again, religion. Yeah.
yeah, bloody thing. So Leah, how did you get involved in music?
Well, music was forever there in my house. My granddad, he was born in Chicago, and he came to Athens at a very early age, and he was working as a blacksmith. So he was working in that nice place, Plaka, in downtown ancient Athens region where all the blacksmiths were, and that's where the Rembetiko song was born. It was an immigrant low life people would sing that type of music, and he would come home and then he would pick up a guitar and he would say, come over here, let's sing together. And then later my dad used to do that, and my mom would always sing in the house. My dad used to play in a very famous band in Athens, very, very famous. And when I wanted to become a musician, he kicked me out of the house. He said, no way. No, no, no. You're not becoming a musician. Way too much drugs, way too much violence. No, no, no. You're a girl. No way. So he kicked me out of the house. But then we made amends. Okay. And so music was always there. I tried to study other things. I was forced by my parents to study business administration so I could find a job and be valuable in the society, but I could not. So I quit my job and I decided to go back and study proper music and become a music teacher so I can earn my living by teaching. So that was around my early 20s. I've been in a band since I was, I think, 14 years old.
Well,
That's one of the most secure, certain things that I know how to do, be in a band. That's what it's forever in my life.
yeah.
And it took me a while to write my own songs because I studied way too much classical music, and I thought that I was way too petite, way too insignificant to submit something of a musical value in the art itself. I had very huge admiration for the masters, for the great masters, and I thought that who am I to write a song when everything's been said and done? I remember I was writing. I was being recorded playing the piano for record of a fellow musician, and I thought, well, he's recording an album. His songs are simple. I can be better than that. Not in a competitive way, but if
No.
he's recording an album, I can record an album. It's okay. Music won't mind. It won't be offended. Probably I could do my art some good. So I started wanting to bring out my songs to the public sometime in my late 20s, let's say. Up until then, I never let anyone listen to my songs or my works or my compositions because I
Well,
thought
okay.
they're not good enough.
Wow, that's incredible. So was that more a confidence thing as well at that time?
Oh, well, to be honest, I've never had lack of confidence. I've never felt shy. I never have stage fright. I have a very huge issue with responsibility. I feel in debt for this art form. I want to do it justice, and I want to be valuable, and I want to be useful to music. So I'd say it's responsibility. And I know that my music is good, to be honest. I know what we're doing is good. I know that we worked very hard and we did the best we could. I just want to release things whenever I think they are going to exceed the boundaries of this art form. And it takes me some time because I'm very, very picky and I want it to be very detailed. But I wouldn't say that I'm shy or that I have lack of confidence. On the contrary, although I do leave people with that impression, I let them think that way about me because it makes people uneasy if you let them know that you're very, very confident. They're like, why is she that confident? She's a musician. She should be having stage fright. She should be,
Yeah.
shy, stuff like that.
Well, that's good. That's good. What have you drawn your influences from for your lyrics and your musical style? I mean, obviously you've brought in quite a few different styles.
That's true. In the beginning, I would write things about me and the things that I haven't solved in my soul and my wounds, and I would address them in stories about imaginary other people. My first album has an alter ego that suffers everything, not me, her. But later on, I thought that this was very naive in a way, or maybe I just healed and I didn't need to talk about these things anymore. So my third album, for instance, it was more political. I was dealing with inequality, with everyone who's been suffering from injustice, and how we are destroying the nature's resources and all these things. And lately, I have been puzzling my head with what comes after, with who we are and why we're here, and why is it a choice to treat each other badly? Because the human race has choices. It's one of the things that animals don't have, and yet we choose to act in horrible ways. So why do we do that? And so I mostly deal with human behavior in a communication way, or in a social way, better. I'd say some of the people who influenced me was definitely Sylvia Plath. you know, Sylvia Plath is a thing. When you read her and she gets in your system, it leaves a mark. You
Yeah.
don't really let that go. You hang
Yeah.
on to that. And I had daddy issues. She had daddy issues. So that was very, I felt at home. And then later on, you know, Kate Bush. I think Kate Bush is the mother of all female singer-songwriters. I've often said that all girls, when asked who's their influence are, they should say Kate Bush, and then everything else should follow. Or
She was definitely unique, wasn't she, at the time?
yes.
And she told stories as well, which was really good, especially Wuthering Heights, which really told a complete story. That was very good. Your album, The Missing Fourth Guest, that's fantastic.
Thank you.
And that is telling stories all the way through, isn't it?
Yes. More darker than
Yes.
ever.
Yes, I
I'm
will say
going
that.
through the songs right now, and I'm thinking,
Yeah.
wow, and they are very gloomy. They are very, very dark. Yes.
My favorites on that are Dinner. Is it Uterus? Uterus Will?
Yes. Yes.
Fantastic songs. Absolutely fantastic, Leah. They really are. And so different. And the videos that go along with them. You have such unusual videos.
Oh, really? Unusual. What would you say that?
I just watch them and I just think the way they're filmed is somehow they draw you into that story even more. And it's almost like you want to know more about what's going on. You kind of leave it to the imagination what is really going on, and you have to keep thinking. You make people think.
I'm happy. That was the intention. I'm very happy that I do that. I'm very, very happy.
And then you got Row, Row, Row. You've incorporated a common little rhyme with some really dark lyrics. So what was that about? I mean, it was just incredible.
Well, it was the quarantine, and I had a lot of time on my hands, and I would teach because we did lessons, we did online lessons, and we would meet with our people we loved through camera, of course. But I had a lot of time. I could stay on that chair forever, and I did stay on that chair forever. Uterus Will, I wrote it the night my partner's dad died. He was in the hospital and it was COVID, and we could not visit him. And then we took him home, and he died at his home. So I was not there when it happened. I received this phone call, and he told me dad died. And I remember I cried because I loved him. He was the sweetest man. And losing someone during COVID was a very weird thing, because most of the times we could not visit our people in the hospital. We could not see them. We did not know. If they could not pick up the phone, you would never know if they're alive the next morning. So I thought, I am doing this. But I thought there were so many things that I promised him we would do if he got better, that we would go in his homeland, we would go visit his village where he grew up. And he didn't do all that. And I thought, I don't have children. I wanted to, but I don't have. And I probably am not able to have children. And I thought, I won't have anyone to inherit me. There will be nobody there to cry when I die. Like when a child loses a parent, you have someone to mourn over you. There'd be nobody to mourn me. And the only thing that I have are these songs. And at least this way, I can make us immortal in a way. So it was like the will of my uterus, the will, not the will, the power, the will, the drive. No, the last testament, the, you know, the where I leave my belongings. So it's like I'm leaving my belonging, my uterus in a way. It's a very feminine song in a way, because at the end, it discusses dementia, which I think is one of, I think everyone is afraid of that. I mean, I think we all
Yeah.
are afraid of dying in dementia, in that cloud of our head, not knowing
Yeah.
who our parents are, not knowing who our children are, not knowing who our loved ones are, not knowing who we are.
Yeah.
So in the closing little song of Uterus Will, I discuss exactly these things, that I wanted to be a mother, I wanted to be someone's parent, I wanted to have children of my own. Definitely, I wanted to raise a child in music, you know, with all these instruments that I have. I wanted
Mm.
him to have these things, or her. But yet again, I'm still at my prime in a way, and I am afraid of dementia. I am afraid of losing my mind. So it's one of those darkest songs in the album. It's very, very dark. And it's one of those songs where I don't think there's a rainbow in the end, unless you understand that we're going to die. So you better make the best of your life
Yeah.
as soon as you can. Because it's only once, you know, that's it. We don't know what happens after life. We don't know what's there. So we should better live our lives the best we could, the best we can. So yeah, you see that there's the rainbow. I always feel I should say things as dark as I feel them, but then pat in the back and say, but it's okay, you know, we might die, but then we get to live, so don't worry.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's Uterus.
Wow. That's a lovely insight to it, though. It adds so much more meaning to it knowing that. It's really good. Great lyrics as well. I mean, it's fantastically written. And then I've watched several times the video for, now you're gonna have to forgive my pronunciation, Niobe.
Oh, Niobe, yes. Oh, Niobe.
Now
Niobe is
that
a very
I'm
old
not
song.
sure. Now I had to say this. I wasn't sure if the video is cute or creepy. I wasn't sure which one.
Please say creepy.
Creepy.
Please
Then
say
it's creepy.
creepy.
Yes, it is.
Okay, Niobe is a story. Niobe is since you like ancient Greece and all the mythology and all that. Niobe was a princess. I think she came from Libya, and she was very pretty and she was very strong. I don't remember where she was wed. I don't remember the kingdom where she was there, but there was a feast, and they would celebrate the mother of Apollo and Artemis, the goddess Leto. And then Niobe said, why are you celebrating Leto? She only bore two children. She only bore Apollo and Artemis. I've I've borne 7 sons and 7 daughters. I am a princess. I came here with my wealth, with my beauty, and I'm bringing this. I think it probably was Thebes, and I'm giving the city of Thebes all these wonderful young people. But yet again, you worship a goddess. Now, I know you're people like Greece and you like the mythology and you like all that. And I could go on and discuss about this forever. I also wanted to do a PhD on that back in the day when I still wanted to study. Gods were very, very petty in ancient Greece and cruel. This is how people wanted their gods to be. They wanted them to be punishers, and they wanted them to be forcing people into doing things that would stripe them of their freedom of will and choice. So Leto, the goddess, she thought, who are you to say you're better than me? Go on, Artemis, go on, Apollo, and murder this woman's children. So then Artemis and Apollo, they went and they murdered all of her sons and her daughters, both 14 of her children. So she was driven mad, and she was also driven away from her city because of her audacity to how dare she speak ill of the gods. And Niobe was actually a little sketch, a little exercise I sketched back when I was a student in the UK. And I sketched her after the murder ballads by Nick Cave. So I made this
Oh,
murderous woman. I stole a little bit of the mythology story of the woman who was deprived of her children. But my Niobe, she is killing her children because she doesn't want them to grow old and wrinkle and be not pretty. Because in the little village where she's living, the little town, she's the prettiest of them all. And now that she's not pretty anymore, she's looking at the way people are looking at her and she doesn't like it anymore. So it's a mixture of suburban US, murder ballads in Greek mythology. And it used to be a very big song. It used to be very long, very, very long, something like staggeringly. I mean, really long. And my teacher used to say, if you can't make it into a 4-minute song, it's a disaster, Lia. It's very long. Just cut it down. Let it go. Let it go. So the sad thing is that the dad, Niobe's husband, my heroine's husband, his story was diminished into him sitting on the bar stool and mourning over his lost children and wife. Well, he had a story, but I had to cut him out because the song was becoming extremely long. So it's a story about how much we demand and we cherish other people's opinions, how much looks matter, how much outer beauty is important, and also if we dare be audacious against the gods or our fate. Do we dare speak ill of our fate? Do we dare do things against what everyone would think?
Wow.
It's
Great.
it's a little bit weird. It's a weird story. So I am playing the crazy woman in the video that has murdered her children, and she's going around the house, but she's happy because now
Yeah.
that her children are dead, they can grow old and they won't grow ugly.
Wow, what an amazing.
Sick,
I just love
but
it. I love it.
yes.
I really do. And couldn't you put the version that you did that was long? I mean, I'm thinking of Kraftwerk Autobahn, 15 minutes. Couldn't you put yours out as a digital, the full version?
Well, I've never thought of that.
I mean, I think
It
Velvet
is.
Underground, didn't they do The Gift? That was a long story as well, and that worked. So,
Well, currently we are discussing with Matt, who is the CEO of our label. Our label is Constant Records. It's in Miami, Florida, and it's Matt's birthday today. And so we were talking about last night. We had a small meeting, and we said we liked the instrumentals of the album way too much. So he said, I keep going back to the album and I'm listening to it, and I can hear a small orchestra in there in some of the songs. Can you make it bigger and just cut me some instrumentals so that I can hear them? And I said, Matt, we can actually release an instrumental album. We can. So what's in store? What we have, what we're thinking of releasing is some instrumentals, but elaborated. All the orchestral work that's behind the songs, because there's a lot of orchestra in there. So probably that's what's going to come out. But we could. I've never thought of that. I've never thought of unleashing the entire Niobe and letting it go out there. So
because it's
yes,
been
that
done a
would be a
few
great.
times, hasn't it, with longer records, and they've not failed. I mean, Autobahn was huge, and I think The Gift was a really well-known Velvet Underground track. So there is a possibility. I mean, I'd certainly listen to it, but that's just me. But
You know what? I'll find it though, and I'll send you the longer version. It's somewhere in one of my older PCs because it's the only song that wasn't written through the quarantine. It's the only old song.
wow,
And Niobe tried to make it into the second and the third album, but it just wouldn't. It's the most difficult song I had to arrange. Very, very, very
wow.
difficult.
But it's very, very good, Lia. Very good. And the
Thank
video
you.
is perfect with it as well. I mean, your storytelling, it's just perfect when it goes together. It is perfect. And I think that's the way to listen to your music more, is with the video as well. It's an audio visual experience with you. Definitely. And it's, I mean, it's music I would have never listened to previously, but like somehow it's just drawn me in and it's kind of hooked me. I don't know why, it's just hooked me.
This is the most difficult thing we have to do. This is our most difficult task, because we know that what we do is different. I know it's not difficult. I have very good faith in our audience. I know that once people get their ears to our music, they're going to like it. I have absolute confidence into that. But the weird thing and the difficult thing and the most challenging thing that we are facing right now is how to convince people to listen to us. You see, when I was studying marketing, I remember one teacher told us the most important thing in human nature is to feel safe. Human nature wants to feel safe. They don't like surprises. So the most easy and the most clever trick to do as a marketing specialist is to trick them into thinking that the product you are marketing is not new, is something they already needed, they just somehow forgot or neglected in their heads. So that's when you have a customer. When you serve them something that is new, but you make them think that it's not new, you needed that, you just for some reason forgot you needed that. So how am I going to persuade audience who don't know we exist that they are going to like what they listen to if they would just give us a chance?
That's it. And yeah, it is. And I get sent all sorts of music, and my idea was always to give everyone a fair go. And so I listen to everything. And sometimes at first I think, oh no, what is this? And I start listening and I think, okay, what am I going to say that's good about this? I just don't relate to it. And then you keep listening because you're trying to find that thing that you can relate to. And once you get that, you think, oh, actually, that's actually really good. And you start to then open your mind to it and let it in. And that's when you start to enjoy it. I didn't have that problem with yours, by the way, but I do with some. And sometimes it's like, what on earth have they sent me? And then the more you listen, the more you think, no, actually, now I get it. And you do it, but you've got to open yourself up to either new music or music that you don't think you like. And then you find out you do actually like. But a lot of people they pigeonhole themselves the same way they do with bands. You're this, you're that, you're this, you're that. And they don't open any other box. They just, I like metal, I like goth, I like darkwave, I like pop. And that is all they will listen to. But you have to be able to open all those boxes and say, let me have a listen. I'll try it.
Well, but that's a totally different audience. And that's where I am. That's where this is the fight we have right now. This is our war at the moment. The other day I was coming home from work, and as I walk home. It's an 8 or 10 kilometer walk, but I like it. And I ran over some friends. I didn't run over them. I ran across some friends, and they were drinking some wine, and there were some people who didn't know me. And I said, "Are you coming to the gig on Saturday?" So they said, yeah, sure. So one of the guys asked, "So what are you doing?" I said, "I'm doing something that would probably intellectual dark pop. I don't know how to say what it is I'm doing. It has avant-garde, it has some dark elements. It's not pop actually, but it's not anything else. So if you would come, it'd be nice. You'd see for yourself." He said, "Yeah, I might make it." And then I said, "We also have an opening act. It's a nice band. They play Darkwave." He said, "Oh, great, Darkwave! I'm definitely coming." I said, "My God, you are coming because my opening act is Darkwave." I said, "Sure." Of course, I didn't react like this, but inside,
That's
I
how you
felt,
feel.
yeah, I feel like he pierced me and just let me die at the end of the dark alley. I mean, just because the name of what I do isn't specific, that should actually be intriguing, you disregard what I'm doing. And the minute I say those magic words, dark wave, immediately, oh, yeah, I'm coming, definitely coming, dark wave, give me more. And I understand, though, I understand that people, after the economical crisis and after COVID, they want to associate more than ever with something familiar. I understand. This is why we find audience, and it's more easy to communicate with people in jazz festivals, because jazz festivals are the only weirdos, give me everything, just send me everything. And you never know, is it noise, is it industrial, I don't know, is it avant-garde, is it spoken word, just send it over, we're doing jazz, give it to me. So these are the only people I feel confident that when I'm sending our music to them, which is not jazz, by the way, our music is not jazz in any way, but these are the only people who give it a listen with open-hearted, and they give us a slot on a major festival. And it's
Madness, isn't it?
it is, yes, it is what it is. I understand.
Just
And
because
then
you can't be put in that little labeled box.
yes, just because I can. And I have people who are telling me, they are correcting me. They're like, "You're not dark pop. That's not pop." I said, "What is it? What is it? Is it indie? Because it's not. Is it alternative? Because it's not. What is it? Well, it's like and I'm like, what's Dead Can Dance? If you tell me what Dead Can Dance is, if you can find one genre that can fit the entire Dead Can Dance discography, then I will humbly abide and wear a label, whichever you give me. There's some people who are not labeled one way. What's Radiohead? What do Radiohead do?
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
if you label Radiohead with one label, one sticker, and you bang it on Tom York's head, then I will take a sticker on my forehead as well. But then they say, yeah, but that's Radiohead. And I don't want to say that my music is equally good as Radiohead's, but they started somehow. I mean, back in the day, Pablo Honey wasn't the revelation of senses. It was just an album. This band was just starting. Not everyone starts with Key Day. We have to start someplace.
Yeah, and it goes back probably before you were born. But I remember bands like The Jam. There was an
Mm-hmm.
argument whether they were punk or were they this or were they that. And it was like, I didn't consider them punk. Some people did. Some people considered them something else because they dressed smart. So how could they be this and they not be that? And it confuses people's perception of a band. There's lots of bands out there. I mean, Cocteau Twins. Where on earth would you put them? I mean,
don't know.
they're in a place on their own somewhere. But it's just giving people a chance, and people should do that. I mean, people like yourself, you've taken the time, you've taken so much from yourself into your music. Just give people a chance. Just listen to it. If you don't like it at the end, you don't like it, but at least give it a chance.
It would be nice if that was the case. So
It
this is
would
why we
be.
have to just keep on banging on those doors and wait until they open. I sometimes feel very discouraged, and but then I realize it's not their fault. They don't know. They haven't seen us. They haven't heard. We are doing the best we can promotion wise, and we have an amazing label that's helping, thank God. This is not one of those devastating stories. I mean, I am an ex EMI artist. I know what it's like to be in a major label that doesn't give up about you. So we are fortunate. I am surrounded by the people I love. We are family. We make music together. We travel together. We we drink from the same glass and share the same rotten sandwich. And we've had, nasty days and happy days. We just had dinner yesterday with some friends celebrating the album presentation. So it's a nice ride. I just feel I was weeping on our bass player's shoulder the other day, and I say, why didn't people come to our presentation? It should have been more people. And he said there were people. Okay, it was something like almost 200 people, which is okay. But it should have been more. It
Mm.
should have been more. I know that there's more people that listen to us, and it's our hometown. It's not a big venue, but it could have been more, and it should have been more. And we realized we are asking way too much out of people. I am very demanding of our audience. I ask them to be there. I ask them to hurt. I ask them to look inside. I ask them to deal with very difficult situations. People are not always susceptible to that kind of ache, to that kind of pain. They don't, maybe not, they don't want it. I'm very, I sometimes forget that people sometimes listen to music because they want to have fun, because they want to, dance, they want to let it go.
Yeah.
I make music that's like an experience. It's like going and seeing Requiem for a Dream, for instance. It's a movie, you see it, it changes your life. So I wanted to make music that would change someone's perception and that would make them think. They don't want to do that on a Saturday night. Why would someone want to do that on a Saturday night?
Well, I get your point on that. Yeah, I can see it from both sides. See, for me, it's the whole experience. And if I was to experience you singing live, I would take it all in and just, really enjoy it and take that experience as something incredible. But there are people, like you said, they just want to go out, have a drink, and dance. And having to actually, almost like having to be intellectually and take it in and then actually think about what's being sung and things, then that's a little bit different. But thank goodness there are people out there that do like that kind of thing. I mean, otherwise, theatre and opera and things like that wouldn't still be around. So it's a kind of, I see it more now where you're coming from, that it's difficult to try and get those people to actually give you a chance because you are in that in-between area, really. And I can kind of see it. I can't.
Do you remember how we started our conversation? Do you see now why people don't like that I do it all? Because you don't imagine a philosopher working his ass off all day. You imagine him with a glass of wine, thinking deep thoughts, and then coming with this strong sentence that's life changing. I do these things which contradict themselves.
Yeah.
People, when they think of great works of art, when they think of Michelangelo, they probably think that he was, godly driven and this immense spirit would just create. We never think how much work, effort, stamina, endless nights it takes to create a work of art. We just want to think of work of arts created by delicate personalities who float within the normality and the illuminance of spirits. We don't understand. This is how we want it. We don't want to understand that the person next to us might be not genius, but certainly a very gifted person, because that might make us think of our potential. I understand all those things. This is why I'm not very demanding of our audience. I just wish there was. I always talk with the boys, and I always say there's something we're not doing right. For everything that's going wrong, there's something we're not doing right. It's not our fault, but certainly there's something that we're not doing right. So as time progresses, I understand what you say is true. The visual aid for us is a dead end. We have to work with visuals. We have to marry those two arts. We have to create this spectre for people to come and see. It has to be not a show, but it has to be an experience.
Yes.
Because people cannot understand that I'm going to a gig. You're not going to a gig. I could see people. I was singing birthdays, and I do a puppet when I sing birthdays, like a broken puppet. So I could see people whom I know, friends, my students. They would look at me like, because they don't understand how a person that they know and they drink coffee with, or they talk about how to fix your soft palate, how that person transforms into a living doll in front of you, and suddenly you get swept into this very intense performance, and you need some time to understand what hit you. So we probably need to focus on that. We need to create probably a name for what we're doing. It shouldn't be called a concert. It shouldn't be called a show. It shouldn't be called a theatrical or stage performance, but we have to find a name. We have to make that change, a transition or something.
Yeah,
it's a new idea. I'm only sharing it with you right now. I've been thinking about it all day today. So it's the first time I actually hear myself speak about it.
See, have you ever heard of I'm assuming you have probably. Have you heard of VAST?
Yes.
What is it? Visual, audio, sensory theatre.
Yes.
So that's kind of the thing, isn't it? You've got to incorporate all that into your performance, or however you're going to call it. It's a difficult one to get right, isn't it? Because if you don't get it right, people won't come.
Well, to be honest with you, people won't come if you don't find something catchy to tell them.
Yeah.
Because I like musical theater and I teach musical theater, and that's a totally different genre. It's a totally different thing. It's an art form on its own.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to do something that has to do with lights. We are currently working with a magnificent lighting engineer. She's brilliant. She's the new asset that we added to the team, and she's just brilliant. So I think I'm going to do something with video and lights, and probably some other senses as well. I always had this idea that would have this show where you could smell things. And there's technology, you can do that.
Yeah.
You can actually fill the space with scents and drive your audience around into thinking they are at the open sea, now that they're in the meadow, and now that they're having cookies with wine or something like that. So this probably is some place we could go, but that means smaller venues. That means more intimate performances, and actually we want to go on bigger stages, and we want those big stage. I want to move. I want to be able to do all these things. I mean, it's the struggling imagination of a creative artist is a turbulent one.
Yeah, I can see now that there's almost a fight in there, a determination to find a way through that. And you've got to keep at it. I mean, it's like I said, I wasn't sure at first. I just thought this isn't something I'd normally listen to, but the more you do and the more you see and the more you think, yeah, do you know, I actually really like this. So this is really, really, really good music. It's well written. It's well performed. The singing style is more, I know it's singing mixed with storytelling. It's just a great experience, your music. It really is a great experience.
Thank you.
And this is someone who likes really loud, aggressive music, but then I come down to earth and listen to yours, and it's just takes me a different place.
but so do I. I mean, my favorite band is Nine Inch Nails.
Oh,
My second favorite band is Faith No More. I mean, this is where I come from.
yeah,
Of course, there's a lot of jazz here, but if we go, there's this wall behind me that's filled with CDs. So if I go there and if I randomly pick up CDs, we'd probably come up with Pantera and I don't know, and Miles Davis, and then probably, well, of course, The Doors and Kate Bush and things will, Frank Zappa, and I don't know. I've listened to everything,
yeah,
but I enjoyed the a decade ago when I saw Depeche Mode when they were on, the glorious days.
yeah,
I enjoyed it as much as I enjoyed Robbie Williams a couple of years back. And my best ever concert is Nine Inch Nails and Pearl Jam. So, I come from different places as well. And I'm still not there yet. I mean, currently I am trying to get to the next album. Of course, I'm already composing things in my head and I'm trying to figure out a new sound, which is more aggressive, which is more offensive, which is more. I'm as I'm growing older, I'm letting go of all the things I was not shy. I was ashamed to show. Pretty girls with blue eyes. They don't listen to Mike Patton. He swears and he spits and he eats garbage off the floor. I mean, yeah. They don't growl. They don't do noises with their mouths and their voices and all that. But I want to do that. So and I want to go into more noisy and I'd say ear offensive stuff. So I come from these places, so I understand why someone who likes dark and noisy and even people who like melodic metal might like what we do,
yeah,
because there are songs there for them as well. People who like, let's say, Nightwish and Evanescence, they might like it as well. I am a belter. I sing loud. I have things in our music. There are things there that everyone could pick up a favorite and hold on to it. Our only problem is we need exposure. We need to be rubbed into people's faces so they get to
yeah.
to understand that we exist.
Well, I will certainly do my best for you. I can promise
Oh,
you that.
thank you. That's not what I meant, but it
No,
means a
no,
lot
but
just to be here.
that's the whole idea of this. So, I will do my best. I really will. Because it should be heard. It really should.
I think so too. I think it would make people wiser, and I think it's an album that would make people live their lives happier at the end of the day.
I agree with that. And I think the more you let different music in, I think it does make you happier. I mean, I used to love when I was younger listening to the album Closer by Joy Division. And people said, doesn't that depress you? And I said, no, it has the opposite effect. And they said, but how? It's so depressing. I said, but it isn't. Just listen to it. It really isn't. It will pick you up. And they said, no, but we don't like it at all. It just puts us on a real low. And I just listen to it properly, and it's one of those things where music is individual interpretation, I guess, how you perceive it when it comes in. But you listen to different music and you have that scope to listen to a vast range of music. I think that does help you through life. It really does. I mean, there's some music that I would have never, ever dreamt that I would love listening to. And I listen to it and it just fascinates me how good some of this other kinds of music are. Yourself is one of them. And then there's I can never pronounce the band's name, Kiskaiba Sisk or something. I think they're from Siberia, and they do, it's kind of metal throat singing. And it's
I think I know who you
one
mean.
lady, and she has two dancers, and they're always dressed with this unusual makeup, and I love listening to that. It's just so different. And it's something I would have never, ever dreamt of even listening to. but it's brilliant. It's because it's so off the scale. You know, it's kind of like open your mind, listen.
And also, when we discuss about the music we listen to, it doesn't mean that we have to listen to something every day. I remember I once I heard the Downward Spiral once when I got it back then, and then it took me a long time until I put it back on to play, because it hurt me so badly the first time I played it. By the time it got to the end, I was already so much energy was battling inside of me, and but it was there. I wouldn't just, if I wanted to listen to one song, let's say, okay, Closer, if I wanted to put on Closer, because I was a DJ at some point, so I, would put Closer. It's a nice song to have in a bar at night. Everyone wants to like an animal. So I would play that song, but then I would never listen to the entire album again until I had to do an essay on the album, and then I heard it again. When we say we listen to that music, we don't mean we listen to it every day. So when people tell you, doesn't Joy Division depress you? Well, you don't listen to it every day.
No, you don't. Not you don't listen to it every day, 24 hours a day. Otherwise, yes, you probably would get depressed, but then you'd probably get depressed listening to anybody 24 hours a day.
Well, no, there's times, where Bruno Mars has a new song, like when they had this Silk Sonic album, that song was so amazing that I would play it on repeat and do the ironing, or do the, wash the house, or, do the floors, or sweep, or stuff like that. And I would listen to the latest Beyonce album, but I'm not really into Beyonce.
No.
It's just bouncy. It has a nice BPM. It has a nice production. It moves me. I mean, it moves my body physically. So I put it on. I don't listen to Beyonce. And when we say what kind of music you listen to, we mean intentionally, so that you experience this auditory experience. So that's the difference. I think that people nowadays, they don't go to live shows to listen to music. They go to live shows to be there because it's hype. It's one of those bands where you have to be there. And I remember seeing that when The Cure came 2 years ago. Was it 2 years ago? I remember seeing them on BST on Hyde Park, and then the next summer they came to Greece. So there were people in Greece, and they said, "Oh, sucker, you paid a small fortune to go and see them at Hyde Park, and now they come to Greece." I'm like, okay, but first of all, it's The Cure in Hyde Park. It's their terrain. I wanted to be there with the Londoners. I wanted to see what it's like. And then, okay, I was in Hyde Park. I saw this monumental concert in Hyde Park, and now they're coming in my hometown. So everyone, of course, everyone went to The Cure, everyone. And there were people, as we were going into the venue, the field where the concert was, that would say, "Oh, we're gonna see that grandpa Robert Smith. He looks like a grandma. He's gonna sing, and who knows if Simon Gallup can play? He's way too old. Let's go see the grannies." And then they started, and it was a festival. I think there was another 2 acts before them. Ride, I don't remember. Well, 2 good bands. Good. Big names.
Yeah.
So The Cure started, and by the time they were in the second song, I don't remember which it was. It was something sitting at the edge of the world. I don't remember the name. I remember the first song. So it was their second song, and I'm relaxed and I'm starting to enjoy myself. And I'm looking around, and I'm seeing people who are like the people who love The Cure. They are experiencing this. They are already traveling.
Yep.
The rest of them, mostly musicians or people who there are a curiosity, they were like this. Because Granny upstage and Grandpa Simon Gallup, they were killing us. And they
Yep.
played for 2.5 hours.
Wow.
For 2.5 hours, unstoppably, everyone left out of a concert that they had already for granted. They were just going to see this out of museum interest. Let's go see Granny Robert Smith perform, put on
Yep.
some makeup and some lipstick. And they just nailed everyone down to the floor. People were weeping. They were crying, sobbing, holding each other. It was it was a totally different show than the one I'd seen in Hyde Park. And still, when we talk about great concerts in Athens, everyone was like, "Did you go to the Cure?" I said, "Yeah, I did. I was there." And that was an experience
Yep.
because these people, I mean, the Cure, who have hits, Lullaby, they have a hit, and they
Yeah.
played it for fuck's sake. So these people with these immensely huge radio hits, they sat there for 2.5 hours, and Robert Smith did absolutely whatever he wanted with that audience. So everyone went away with a life-changing experience.
And that's what you want. That's what I want from a gig, a festival, concert, whatever you want to call it. That's exactly what I want from there. I want to come away changed. Something happens when you're there, and it's just, you'll never forget it.
Yes.
I remember when I was a massive fan when I was younger of Susie and the Banshees.
Mm.
And I remember this time Susie had broken her leg, but she was still doing the concerts, but sat down. And people were saying, "Oh, I don't want to go to that now." And I said, "Well, there's some other bands there." "Oh, I don't know." So anyway, convinced some people that came with me still. And we went to see Susie. Yes, she sat down, and it was brilliant. But there was another band there that my friends hadn't heard of, but I had, and they were called Psychic TV.
Mm-hmm.
That was Genesis P. Orridge. Do you remember? Yeah. And he came on. We didn't know it was him. It was just this man that looked different. And it was in a marquee without any safety or anything. He just climbed to the top of the marquee and was singing from there. And then he took his mask off, and it was him. And he climbed back down and carried on the show. And everybody left there saying, Psychic TV, got to be one of the best bands live. Because he did something completely out of the box, and it gave you that experience that you will never get from anywhere else. That was, he did that. And it was so unique. And that is the kind of thing you want. You want that almost, I don't know, it's just that jolt that takes you, and you come out and you'll never forget that. Never. It's just, that's what you want. That's what you want, Lia. And
Yes.
I think that's what people would get from one of your performances. I really do.
Well, we definitely don't sound anything like the CD or the vinyl. Our shows are totally different than what you hear when you go into Spotify or when you have our music on
Yeah.
physical form. We definitely do things all the way different. There's more guitar. There's a solo piano that's not there on the CD, and I am very, very different vocally. I There's this curse. If you are a vocal teacher, at least I have it. I have this curse. My sound engineer is driven crazy. I have this, when I sing something the first time and I know that I did okay, I can never do another take. It's impossible. I am totally useless. So this is why this album was all recorded at home, and I recorded it by myself. I am so bad at monitoring what I do, because once I know I did a good take, I'm okay. I did it. Okay, and I did it. Next, move on. Next one, next song. Not because I'm bored, but I have this thing. I think Jeff Buckley had that. I can't really focus. I want more. Like, let's orchestrate more. Let's put on some things, then bring in this viola and give me the bass and do stuff. So my mind is working way too fast, and I need time. So once I record a proper take, that's it. No second take. That's it. And the other thing is, because I am a vocal teacher and I'm spending my entire day doing extreme vocals with my extremely gifted students, I have no need to showcase what I do. I have a very, very big voice, huge, very diverse, very flexible. I can do anything I can imagine. I studied opera when I studied. I can do virtually anything I want, but I don't want to do it on my music because I do it every day at work.
Yeah.
So I sing just the way I want the songs to be heard, and but on the shows, because I am a show person, that's different. It's a totally different thing. There's another person that goes on stage and sings the songs. They have nothing to do with what you heard on CD.
Wow.
It's very, very weird.
See, now I want to see you live at some point. I've got to now.
We'll come to Malta.
Yeah, I'd love that. I'd love that. That would be so different. And that's now, it's just intrigued me even more now.
Well, the bad thing is that whenever we have a show like this, we never film it. When we do film it, and when I know we are filming it, I am being very proper and I behave.
Oh no.
Oh yes. But it's like the first curse, the one with the good take. But I've
Yeah.
already sung this in the album. Why do I need to sing more? Go listen to the album. It's a very weird thing. And my band, my boys, Aki and George, they're always like, I mean, really, it's our album. Sing good. Like, but I can sing better, but I don't want to. But like, I'm driving them crazy. I am. The same with my piano. I don't really want to play piano. I'm a very good piano player, very, very, very powerhouse. But when it comes to recording the parts that I want to be in the album, I don't want to play a lot of piano. No, it's okay. Because I'm in music all day. All day. I'm
Yeah.
hands on my piano, hands on my students. So everything, I'm complete. I am fed. I'm not fed up. I'm not starving to be performing. I do this daily. But when I am, when it's our stage presentation, then it's different.
Wow. Yeah. I've definitely got to see you some point. Definitely.
I hope we do get to come there and you see us.
Is there anything else you'd like to mention, Lia?
Um, I love these people who are working with me, and they have been taking care of me so much, and I think it's never enough thank yous that I can say. So it's Aki Bass is on the bass and George Rados is on the drums. I've been playing with George since when we were 14 years old. He's been my drummer before the millennium. So we've been playing together for way forever. And Aki has certainly changed the way we do things in the Lia Hide band since he got into the project. And nothing would have happened without those two people. And we're very, very fortunate that all the people who are coming in and they are considered part of this are very well-hearted, good people, open-minded. We even stand in the same political, let's say, agenda. We understand the socioeconomical crisis we are living in. And I don't think a person can live at this day and age and not think about politics as it is at the moment. I mean, for us, and the word politics is how the civilian is living in his society. So you can't go otherwise. So nothing. I sometimes tell them, without you, I'm nothing. That's not true because I know that I'm strong enough and I could go on by myself, but it certainly would not be the same. It's a very nice journey to share with my family because they are my family. They are the only people who know who I am. I I am multiple people on stage. I get very polite when I am angry. When something technically doesn't work at the moment of the show, I am very polite. stupidly polite. I act like a 12-year-old. I'm like, let me introduce you to our guitar player. Inside of me, I'm like, let me chop off some heads. So it's very nice that I'm experiencing this life with these gorgeous people. So if there's something I wanted to add, we said about new music, about concerts, about our experiences, but I forget sharing with people how important it is that I am backed up by amazing individuals and gorgeous gentlemen that travel and stay and support and live by my side.
That is really good. That is really good. Well, Lia, it has been an absolute pleasure meeting you, finally.
Yes, we made it.
Yeah, we did. And it is, honestly, it's been fantastic talking to you. And it's a massive insight into how your music is created and behind it and things like that. It's been absolutely fantastic. Really enjoyed talking to you.
Me too.